Welcome to episode 33. Colleen Bertino of the Gr8 Nrthrn Sexcast. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good morning. I started the morning pretty much buttocks deep in a puddle.
I'm sorry?
Yes. Well, my office is pretty much built over 9 Mile Creek.
Okay.
So when we get a big rain and then, debris gets on a drain, then the drain gets covered, and then my parking lot turns into Lake Fantasy Gifts. So then I get to trudge through the lake with a metal, lake with a rake,
yes,
and, take off the debris. And I had my shorts hiked up so high. Daisy, the lady from the Daisy Duke lady didn't wear things this short this morning. It looked like a little denim bikini. But I figured the weather's warm, so that's nice.
Yeah.
And there wasn't actual lightning happening because I have stood in a puddle past my, at my waist level, holding a metal rake in a lightning storm.
Smart.
This is brilliant. It was either that or, and then and it's not like March, because when we get like a rainstorm in March, April, and there's still ice down there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a little chilly.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So I'm just standing in a puddle.
Oh,
and that's how I started the day. And then the second part of the day was the tiniest little bit of electrical outage. Because last week there was a massive storm. Not a single store lost power, not the office, my house. My sister was, shit out of luck for power for a couple of days. But, that's how that works. But, today, a little bit of glitch. My entire inventory system is now down.
Oh.
So, Tara's here because she can't do diddly on the computer.
Well, speaking of which, welcome back, Tara. Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Really good. So, wow. So is that because when the power goes down, there's something about it?
One of the servers didn't come back online.
Oh.
And so I got a part-time IT person who has a, regular full-time job. Rob kicks ass, but I needed him to do his lunch break and then come over to my spot.
Right. God.
But yeah. The joys. Really, sometimes I know these guys roll their eyes at me, but I really do like paper and pencil sometimes.
Oh my God, I know. Computers, it's like, they're really great until they're not. Mm-hmm. And then you're screwed. Yeah.
So there'll be a lot of desk cleaning today. Although, like I said, with the plague we have going through the office, we're cleaning everything. We have stuff that kills, I don't know, tuberculosis or something. I don't know. It looks really scary on these wipes, and we were wiping down everything. The scoop that I do coffee with, I washed it with soap and water, and then I did the handle with the disinfectant.
What you said.
Yes. That. Oh, my God. I can't even come up with a word. Disinfectant. There we go. Woo!
Because everybody, well, you told me this before we started our episode today, but I guess that the crud is
there is a summer crud.
A summer crud making its way through the Fantasy Gifts headquarters. And, oh, my God.
So I sent everyone home. I canceled the meeting. I said, there is no meeting today. Called in the count of the plague. All of you sick people, home now.
Yeah. Yeah. Summer, what is it about summer colds that can almost be worse than winter? What is the deal with that?
Because you look at the lovely day and you're like, what the hell am I doing inside? You look at a snowstorm, unless, of course, you're a skier or, some crazy person who really loves the cold weather, like, my God, and yes, it's great for the economy, blah, blah, blah. I know that. But it's cold out. I would rather sit in my chilly house and have an iced tea.
For sure. Mm-hmm. So I was looking at not the Fantasy Gifts, but the Gr8 Nrthrn Sexcast Facebook page. I'm on the page quite a bit, and I am just amazed, you guys, at how much activity it is just amping up. And so thanks to everybody out there who's been checking out. We're getting so many comments lately, some really good stuff.
It's really fun because I find stuff. Of course, Megan is spectacular finding stuff, and we go through there, and we giggle because sometimes we're like, "Do we put this on? Do we not put this on?" And we're like, screw it, put it on.
Oh my God! Well, Megan is so damn funny. First of all, and she's so good on social media. But some of the comments that she puts up, literally, especially like if I'm late, if it's really late at night and I'm sitting there and I've had a glass of wine or two, and I'll just go check out Megan's latest, and she's just hysterical. And just about everything that we talk about, she manages to post for us. And then some of the things that she's found, we're going to talk about today because there's just some classic stuff. But check us out at Gr8 Nrthrn Sexcast on Facebook. It's a really fun page. Like us, join us, engage. We'd love to talk with you there. But yeah, super, super good. So besides the plague and besides being buttocks deep in anything else going on at Fantasy Gifts?
Well, we've got a bunch of dildos in. Oh. That's always good.
Yeah, dildos are good.
Dildos are good. Yes. We've got a lot of. Tara came back from a show and she got a lot of special buys, so those came in and have gone out. Okay. I am so glad. I mean, one of these days I'm gonna, just go on one of the buying trips, not because I actually want the overwhelmingness of thousands and thousands of items staring me in the face that all look spectacular, because they all do, just because I want some of the perks. I'm not.
There are some perks.
I want the trip in the Hummer limo to the
Hummer limo was fun.
That was
my
That was good.
So, well, where'd you go, Tara? Where were you this last time?
It was in Burbank, and this show goes on twice a year in Burbank.
This was the Founders Show, right?
The Founders Show.
Okay.
Yep.
So, yeah, I know that the history of this particular show is that there used to be in the CES show, which is a Consumer Electronics Show in January, there used to be an offshoot where there would be the adult section. Well, it actually was starting to get too big. And, there's a lot of other stuff going on. So the manufacturers, the founders, the seven to 10 companies decided to start their own show just for adult products. And it just manufacturers, not wholesalers or anything like that.
Okay.
So companies like Pipe Dream and Topco and a few lube companies, I can't remember, but I know that Pipe Dream was a big one. And so they started this Founders Show, and that's become a huge buying show. And since we buy them, I don't know if it's the majority, a big chunk of the stuff directly from manufacturers. My dad was amazing at getting relationships with these companies years ago. And so, we go to this show. Now, I mean, this is where some of the really large chains go, but, we're nice, Midwestern, mid-sized chain. And we've had, we've got 30 years of experience with them, so it's always a lot of fun. And there's, sometimes there's little perks, like special, like a barbecue outside the California Exotics.
It was California Exotics. They actually had after the show, they had a warehouse tour. They moved into a new warehouse because they were expanding so much. And it is huge. I have pictures. I think I sent them to Megan, so she may post these. It's gigantic. Their pallets are stacked like 30 feet high.
Oh, my gosh.
And they took us on a tour of the entire building and had a barbecue, and they brought us over there from the hotel in a Hummer limo, which was pretty awesome.
Which
I've
is
never
just
been in
so...
a limo. It was weird. It was really hard for them to get out of the hotel parking lot.
Was it really?
Yeah. Yeah.
How big was it?
It was.
How many people did they shove in there?
God, I don't know how many people, but it was like probably the size of 4 Hummers put together.
Okay.
I mean, it was long. It was like way too long to be turning corners.
Oh God. Okay. That would be awkward.
It was.
Yeah.
It was fun.
And this is not, I mean, I know that a lot of folks out there travel and they do shows and they do stuff like that, but there is, I mean, the displays are spectacular. I mean, I do not envy, because you have to go, it's pretty, but it won't sell, or I don't need all that, or that's too similar. Or, you have to be able, to put on blinders.
Yeah, and it's
put on blinders
to see when people have like an entire giant planogram that they want to sell to you, and we can't always buy that huge, 4 to 8 foot, wall of toys for every one of our stores. It just isn't going to fit, so we have to pick and choose like 1 or 2 things here and there.
Well, Tara, this comes up often, and because of the way that your week is scheduled, you don't get to come and be on the show too often. So it's a treat to have you here, by the way. But this comes up in conversation frequently about how, in God's name, do you do it when you go into these? I mean, what kind of a process have you developed for yourself to help with the discernment to choose? Because it would be just so hard.
It is very difficult. I just look at what our stores normally sell and have over the last 10 years that I've been working there, and go with things that I know are in the right price range and the right type of toy that's just sells overall no matter what. And every once in a while I'll take a little gamble on something new. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but I really just go by what in the past we have sold and what there's more of a demand for.
Okay. When you decide to take a gamble, because let's just be honest, we've joked about this, Fridley. Apparently, pony butt plugs are a big deal in Fridley.
Yeah.
Okay, at some point, pony butt plugs were new.
Yeah.
What made you go there?
People were asking
Customer request.
requests from Fridley, actually, probably.
Friendly Fridley.
Yeah. The employee at Fridley was like, people are asking for tail plugs. Basically butt plugs with any kind of tail on it.
Okay.
So foxtail, whatever. Animal tail.
And these come from Roadkill. There's the company. It has people all over the country that they know.
Yeah.
And they do some of that. So people ask about that. No one is raising animals just for their tails for this.
Right. And so then I happened to be at a show, and this guy who makes leather floggers and whips and stuff started making these tail plugs. And I was like, oh my God, people have been asking for these. I'm going to get some. So I got a few for a couple of stores. They all sold, right away.
Wow.
And now I try and have at least just one at every store.
Okay.
Yeah,
because
customer request is how my parents did it. They
Yeah.
had no idea. They had absolutely no idea what people would ask for things, and my father and I've said this before. We just say yes, and between the wonders of calling people up on the phone and UPS Blue Label, he would get it in. 'Cause
Yeah.
if it was a Tuesday, he goes, "I'll have it here on Friday." I mean, he would figure it out.
That's so funny.
And so, listening to my parents attempt to figure out what some of this stuff was some of the. And I was a little bit younger, so I didn't know some of it. But as I got a little bit older, it was hilarious.
Well, this is. I'm glad you brought that up, and this is a good point because it's been a long time since we've talked about this. We're at episode 33. Oh my God. And just real quick, hit the story about how your dad started. He did not set out to do this.
No. We had a restaurant. He had an employment agency. He had a bunch of different things, and restaurant had burned down and all that. And so he bought a gift store somewhere on Nicollet. I think it's where one of the Target buildings are now. Second story. And it had, this is late 70s, like 79 or whatever. And so, you remember the stickers that had the smelly pickle stickers and all that? It had all that novelty crap, right? But it also had a novelty pecker warmer or a few things. Because he bought the stuff from the guy that, he didn't start it. He bought the business from someone else. And he noticed that stuff sold more. So we got a few more things in from a couple places. And then one day, he was the only employee. That was it. He was there morning, noon,
Dad
night.
ran the shop.
That's it. So he's home. He's sick as a dog. This is long before cable. Well, at least in, my house. And Phil Donahue. He's watching Phil Donahue and the manufacturers, and I believe it was a company that I'm not sure is in business anymore, United Sales, I believe. Dow Johnson was there, Topco, a few other people. The owners of these companies were on Phil Donahue talking about their products. And the women in the audience were like, ew, ew, ew. They were like, where can we get the stuff where your feet don't stick on the floor?
Oh, so funny.
And, my dad's like, oh, I know. It was just happened to be sick that day. I don't know if it would have evolved into it if it hadn't been that. And he just started. So, before the show was over, he tracked all these folks down, And
this is before the internet.
This is before the internet.
I'm impressed.
Yes. Well, he was an employment guy. He's a salesperson. He knows how to find things, how to sell things, how to do things.
Sure.
And he just started getting stuff in. And then people started asking, well, have you heard of this? Have you did that? And if there's no way in hell my parents knew what nipple clamps were or figure eight or a figure eight cock ring. Okay, now they do now, and I was going through there, and my parents have always been very big on not lying. So if they tell me they don't know what a figure eight cock ring is at this point, they would have said something. It just,
Sorry.
Just fun. But it's just, they have no idea what this stuff is. But his answer was because he's an entrepreneur. Yeah, I'll get it. He just, that was it. He just figured out what it was and would get it in. And then he realized that this is sort of, and he started, doing some more research. And then he opened up a store on Washington Avenue about 5 years too early.
Okay. Yeah. When there was nothing there.
There was nothing there. And I think he figured out in about 2 weeks that there would be, this is bad, bad, bad. And he moved to a spot right next to Moby's. So my college years were spent a lot of time downtown on Hennepin Avenue.
Oh, my God.
It was a lot of fun.
See, this is a cool story. It's such an American dream, entrepreneur kind of thing. And it's so hilarious to me. And I'm just so glad I got to meet and be part of the podcast version of Fantasy Gifts, because it's like, this is really, truly a family company. And it's like, it's so fun to go to the warehouse. The day that I came down the last time to do some work with you two, in fact, I handed off my dogs, and my dogs got puppy sat, and we did our work, and people are in lunch. I mean, it's just the coolest freaking place. I mean, what a great thing, rest his soul, that your dad started.
Yeah, no, it was the easiest interview ever. I looked at my parents when I graduated and said, "Can I have a job?" And they went, "Yeah."
Have you ever worked anywhere else?
Oh yeah, I had a zillion. I was working since I was 15. I worked at a place, Benjamin's Restaurant no longer exists. I worked at Donaldson's no longer exist.
Were you a server?
Hell no.
Okay.
No. I tried for 2 weeks, and I was about 4'8". Everyone figured I was the manager's daughter. I could not reach or do anything. No, put me in the kitchen.
Oh,
really?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would much rather be in the kitchen. I would much rather cook the food, prep the food. I love cooking. And that was the one of the best jobs I ever had. Hotter than hell. But my sister was a hostess there. She's much better in public than I am. I mean, I could pull it off now. But and then I there used to be a early 80s. There used to be another restaurant called the Diner. In Calhoun Square, I worked there. There was an underwear shop there called Brief Encounter that just sold men's underwear, and it's like boxers and stuff like that. I may have actually sold underwear to Jessica Lange once. I'm not sure.
Oh.
I think it was her. There was rumors she was in the mall, but people come in and I asked what size, and I would grab all the sizes and put it on the counter. And so even though I would work like Monday and Tuesday nights, I still had great sales.
That's awesome. That is just
I think I got a little. There's definitely some salesperson in me that I picked up from my dad.
From your dad, yeah. So, and you've been there for how many years? My gosh, now?
1989, I graduated school, and I started work the next day.
That's amazing.
And then I ended up getting mono or bronchitis or something. So I teased my parents that one day of work just killed me.
So that's awesome. And now here we are. Here we are. And one last quick note: how is the Fantasy Gifts Garden at the warehouse doing?
Well, I picked a watermelon too early. Oh, damn it! We forgot the cucumbers. We'll get them to you.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a lot of cucumbers.
Yeah, there's a lot of cucumbers, and we're still waiting for the tomatoes to get to turn red. The big ones. The cherry tomatoes are doing well. I haven't had a chance to, like I said, I had to get rid of the lake this morning.
Oh,
I have to go out and make sure that the rain didn't beat the crap out of it. It looked good. It didn't look completely flattened when I was looking across at it. Oh, my God.
Every week we kind of go to news that leans into the area that we sort of live in here on the Gr8 Nrthrn Sexcast. But I got to tell you, I was looking up one story, which we'll get to in just a minute. But this headline that I saw when I went to look at this one thing: 6 healthy snacks you can eat while gaming. I'm like, seriously? There's this whole article. I mean, there's this whole just culture on 6 healthy. So while you're sitting on your ass doing nothing but moving probably your thumbs, this is the way to eat healthy. It's like, seriously? I don't know.
Get outside, kids.
Really? Yeah.
Anyway. I'm not a gamer. I know lots of folks that are, but it's not their entire lives. And I can see how they can be fun. I mean, I get a kick out of that. It's not my deal, but I just it's healthy and gaming. I haven't seen too much of these things that go together. So
I will admit
that sounds like a bizarre. That sounds more like clickbait than anything else.
Right? I know, and I will.
Let me guess. Stay away from the chips and the soda, and drink water and veggies, or didn't even bother.
I didn't bother because I just looked at how preposterous it was, and I just kept going to what I was trying to do. But yeah. No, okay, so this San Francisco, nothing should ever surprise us about San Francisco. But
okay.
This is good stuff right here.
Okay.
So they're really having trouble with public urination there. So they are using a new paint. It's a UV-coated urine repellent paint, which I have now dubbed pee paint. And it's hydrophobic. So literally, it sprays the urine back at the people.
I read this
So
article.
it pisses back at you. How funny is that?
I think I read this when it started in Germany or
Yeah,
something
it
a
does.
while ago.
It did, yeah.
And I was like, that is amazing.
I don't understand the science behind it, but I love it. I mean, it's still at least they're not they're not going to be. each person's going to have to discover on their own.
Right?
You can't pee here. So I don't know how it keeps people from peeing there. It keeps them from peeing there again, unless they sign it or something.
Sign it. Warning.
It's sort of like what the 19s and 20s little rock piles and sticks that the itinerant hobos used to do. Did people leave signs saying "Do not pee here"?
Yeah, right on. No, I just thought that was absolutely genius, and as it is funny. Anytime that they can weave humor into, dealing with a situation, I'm happy.
Maybe you know what? I bet parents of little boys would love that in their bathrooms.
Right. Right.
I mean, I understand. I'm not unawares that urine comes out not in a perfect stream. I get this. Okay, but still. That might be handy to have on the walls and stuff like that to keep it off of that when folks are less than perfect with their aim.
For sure. Absolutely. I got tickled. You know how everything sounds classier in a British accent?
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Okay, well, even getting videotaped having sex in a phone booth. Fancy a quickie is how the whole thing started. And
really, who doesn't fancy a quickie?
Right?
I mean,
right? Oh God, did you guys see Notting Hill? Remember the movie Notting Hill?
Yeah.
Did you remember that one? Remember the guy that plays? The roommate.
yeah.
That guy is so damn. Do you remember the shirt he had on that said "Fancy a fuck"? Remember that? That's one of the. I want that shirt. That is a great shirt. Okay. Anyway, so this couple, and it's a cougar and her 41-year-old woman and her 30-year-old boyfriend. They've got the whole thing on videotape. You can watch it. It's not safe for work. They said, yeah, sorry, we probably, the booze got the better of us.
So who was filming it?
Witnesses. And
okay. So for a second, I thought that maybe they had planned it, and someone else filmed it or this or that, or for instance, so it's just random.
Oh my God, these people. Yeah.
Random passersby. I've been passersby a lot. I have never seen anyone having sex in an inappropriate place. I mean, I know that about eons ago, long before the age of digital land, I'm at a friend's house, and was it Grand Avenue? Grand Old Days. That's what it was.
Oh God!
And they're flipping through, and we're going through there, and they had some pictures. And then we're going through, and you're going through the pictures, and here's the parade, here's this and that, and then suddenly, they decide to walk home, and there is a couple where the woman is leaning, bending over with her hands against someone's garage door, and this guy's going at it from behind. They were so wasted, and they got pictures of it. Now this is long before. I mean, I think it was one of the. This guy was a photography buff, so it was one of the first digital cameras. So he was able to do this, but there wasn't any video yet or anything like that.
Okay.
And I'm like. Once I'm like, so I've been a secondary passersby, I guess. But they were like, I mean, they knew that the person was there. I don't know if they knew pictures were being taken, but they didn't. They just kept going at it. Well, and I think a year or two later is when they ended up corralling up the beer at Grand Old Days. And if that's the crap that was happening, I can understand why.
Yep.
Because this was quite a number of years ago.
Oh my God. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Well, and Grand Old Day has got to be the absolute best people watching, and I don't really. It's like right up there with the State Fair. Mm-hmm. Do you agree?
Well, yeah. Humanity. If you get in some of the high points and you look down, it is just amazing. I've only gone there a few times as just wandering. I did the parade for years when I was a member of the Renaissance Festival.
Oh, fun!
And that's personally for me, it's much more fun to be in a parade than it is watching one. But to go through there. I love Grand Old Days State and the state. Oh, we're almost at the State Fair. Woo!
I know. I can't believe it's almost August.
I know. It's like, so do you carve out like serious time for the fair?
Wednesday of the State Fair, because there's only one Wednesday of the State Fair, and this goes back to old Renaissance Festival days too. If your friends work the weekends, then they have 5-day weekdays. And you can say things like, we'll go on Thursday, but there's 2 Thursdays. If you say, I'm going on Wednesday, there's only one Wednesday.
Got it.
And it's just been a
thing.
A thing. And we go on Wednesdays. And then in the evening, we found this several years ago, and it's become huge. Hundreds and hundreds of people watch now. And this has nothing to do with fantasy gifts or sex or anything. Costume llama contest.
Nice.
4-H'ers and their llamas, and they dress them up, and they wear corresponding or matching costumes.
Oh my God.
Because we looked at a map one day, and it said llama costume contest, and we're like, does this mean people are dressed up as llamas? Or that there's a llama in a costume? And then it occurred to us, we don't care, we're going. And it's become this thing. I mean, I know at least 20, 25 people that we've introduced this to that this is, I mean, they will not miss it. And they had to, like, forklift in more seats last year. I mean, it is absurd.
I had no idea that even existed.
Oh, it does. And you can Google, and you will laugh for hours.
Oh, well, live has got to be just absolutely okay.
Oh, so much fun.
So, like, what time of evening on the Wednesday?
It's anywhere between 4 and 6.
Okay.
It's changed a little bit down, down at that new barn down there, and it is just, llama. And it's a great way in this evening. You grab yourself some food, you're resting, and there's llamas in costumes.
Oh my God, are they pretty good?
Oh, there was steampunk llama. There's been Winnie the Pooh and Eeyore llama. The parts that get me are the ones where one dresses up as the bride, one dresses up as the groom, and I'm like, really? You realize that there's social media and these pictures will last forever?
Yeah.
A little weird.
There's been a Viking ship llama in which the llama's head was the bow of the ship. And it's been it's amazing.
How do the llamas feel about this whole thing? Are they down with it?
They seem to be. The thing is that llamas are prey animals, and so they don't like having things covered. See, I could probably judge a llama costumes now because I know a lot about it. I've been it up.
Who knew?
And if you can hinder their legs and cover their, put stuff near their eyes, that means that they have a good relationship with their handler.
Really?
It is. Yeah, I can usually choose for second, third place winners. Yeah, it's a totally useless skill that I have now.
We've all got those, Colleen. Yep. We all do. So, moving through the news, though, this one, you can find this on the Gr8 Nrthrn Sexcast Facebook page. Patent trolls are now infiltrating the sex toy world, and this is kind of frightening.
They have got to come up with laws about shit like this.
Yeah, I mean, this is amazing, and this one deals with remote control ability, and you guys sell stuff like this. There are vibrators that one person can control from a computer while the other person is
correct.
Okay, it's that technology that they're trying to.
Yeah, I read
deal
about
with.
this.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly vague thing, and so they've targeted so far companies that. Out of the 6 companies I read in the article, only one of them is actually manufacturing an item. They haven't targeted any larger companies or this or that because they probably they'll get squashed like a bug. Mm-hmm. But I do know, I think the state of Minnesota, and I believe a few folks in the U.S. Congress are taking a look at this because it's really hindering folks. Someone can buy an ancient patent that has something to do with someone's fax machine, and they can just sue people that own fax machines. I don't know. I'm just saying.
No, that's a good example. Yeah,
and I know you're laughing at this old technology, but a fax machine still is useful sometimes. I mean, it's actually very big in Japan still.
Really?
Yes. I don't know why.
I think because it's more safe than the internet. So if there's
the
very important information.
It's really hard to hack a phone line.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. God, I mean, but who would have thought that pretty soon a landline would be something that we find peculiar?
I know.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, I still have a landline because I still like the idea that when the power goes out, your phone still works. It's just a backup. It's but no voicemail, no nothing on it. But it's not that much for that much security.
Right.
I want to have a phone that functions in my house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe when I no longer have a kid in the house or this or that, I was going through there, maybe I'll get rid of it. But I don't. It's a nice backup technology.
For sure. But it's so funny. I mean, I think about that every now and again, and that's just a weird deal. So the patent. So check out that story. It's really quite awful, and if they're going after the sex trades, nothing is safe, for God's sakes. Some of the Facebook posts, again, Megan, the British face sit-in to protest the new laws. The photos are hysterical.
This is the government in Great Britain has passed a law about what is certain things that are acceptable and not acceptable in adult entertainment, and there's 13 things they outlawed. I'm not sure if you have a listing of them there. If you look at them, if I'm not mistaken, the majority of them have to do, as far as I can tell, with female pleasure. It's just people uncomfortable with women having fun having sex. And so the the folks that are protesting this law, because one of them is face sitting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how in the world would this possibly be considered? And all the things in adult entertainment, in filming sex, could face sitting be considered? You know, I'm just like, oh my God. So they had a face sit in on the grounds of Parliament. This made me
brilliant.
happy.
Love it.
And the quotes are great, or this or that, and you're just like, oh my God. So I can't remember.
I'll
some
read
of
them
the
to
other
you.
ones.
But I just have to say, the one photo that just slays me is picture people dressed up in almost like, you know, just completely stereotypical British tweedy, horse riding, you know, tally-ho looking clothes.
Very conservative. Very
sitting
conservative.
on face. It's brilliant. But okay, the 13 banned things are spanking in film, caning, aggressive whipping, which okay, what do you?
I mean, actually, in the U.S., violence and sex at the same time don't happen.
Right.
I mean, as you know, in the bondage and stuff
Bondage
like that.
and sex at the
Bondage
same
sex don't
time.
happen.
Yep.
So if you're tied up, this stuff doesn't happen.
Right.
So I can see some, you know.
Yeah. Penetration by any object associated with violence, like a toy gun.
That's a little gross.
Urination.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Role playing as non-adults. Physical restraint. Humiliation. Female ejaculation. Strangulation. Face sitting. Fisting. Physical or verbal abuse, whether consensual or not. All banned in Britain. And so I guess these fine citizens thought it was too far.
Yeah, I mean, I can do the face sitting, and the one of them even mentioned like too large of an object. Well, does it get any vaguer than that?
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, I can understand. You know, I can understand that. The violence and a few other things. I'm not sure they have different freedom of expression laws and all that sort of stuff. But female ejaculation, huh?
Right.
I'm pretty much as if it's if you're talking about age appropriate consenting adult, what is
Yeah.
I mean, and that's it. Age appropriate consenting adults.
You know, I need to revisit, speaking of female ejaculation, I need to revisit this subject with someone, but I have a friend who told me years ago, and how this came up was completely bizarre. We were not talking about these matters whatsoever.
Oh, you never are.
No, but I mean, I literally, because I remember just about falling off of my chair. She announced to me that she taught herself how to be a female ejaculator.
Wow.
I went, what? Excuse me? And she said, yeah. And I go, how'd you do that? The internet. And I'm like, what the fuck did you Google?
Yeah, there's YouTube videos for everything, I'm sure.
Can you believe that? So theoretically, she swears that you can teach yourself to be able to do this.
Yeah, there are books and educational DVDs about that. I don't know if everyone's capable of this, but there are people who claim that every female is capable of it.
Really?
Apparently.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, really, every human's different, and so it depends on, I'm sure a whole mind-body thing, and probably just, what you're doing with all the fluid in your body.
Right, and I feel like in some of these movies we're talking about in the porn, there might be a hose
Yeah,
for that effect.
It gets to be it gets to be a little bit. I mean, it's sort of the same thing as a cum shot. Sometimes you're like, yeah, I don't think so.
Right.
Although you do know how fast the average male ejaculation, the speed, the miles per
I've
hour.
read this before.
Do you know the answer?
I can't say now. I know I've read this.
I know I've read it.
27.6 miles per hour.
It's pretty fast.
I never forgot that fun fact.
Well, remember, they're going at. When it comes to biologically speaking, they're trying to get to that damn egg really fast.
Yeah.
They have a goal.
I'm just trying to picture the lab scenario in which they
measuring
clocked that. Just saying.
I bet you anything it wasn't in the U.S.
Probably not. So speaking of, some of these the following are in the U.S., some of them are not. But just a quick note of bizarre brothels around the world. The Alien Cat House, it's near Area 51, so they call it Area 69, but it's all sci-fi themed.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I mean, seriously? Okay, that one.
I can see that. If you're going to paying. I mean, it's a negotiation, so I have no idea what current rates are. But I remember I've watched The Bunny Ranch on HBO, so I know there's they have set costs, and then you have to go past that. But why not have fantasy rooms? I mean, a bedroom is a bedroom, but a spaceship could be fun.
Yeah, some of the pictures of this one though I'm just like, I don't think so. The UK, they have the Passion Wagon. This is funny. They've got like different ones, so it's a vehicle that's outfitted, and so they've got different ones. They've got dungeon ones, they've got whatever, but they basically look like really tricked out minivans.
Oh, I was about to say instead of a food truck, it's a sex truck.
Yeah,
wow.
And they drive it to like your.
I guess.
Where did they? I'm pretty sure Minneapolis would not allow a permit for that.
Probably
Wheels
not.
are turning.
Well, no, I mean, considering the fact that the way the rules are, I mean, I bought a truck years ago thinking we could do something like a food truck thing for fantasy gifts, but okay, I'm going to go down to, let's say, the
Lake Calhoun.
Lake Calhoun and or any sort of the Blues Fest that was just in town, or the Jazz Fest. There were plenty of food trucks and other things like that. Even if I could get permission from the city of St. Paul to sell a sex toy on this block near there, who in their right mind is going to buy a vibrator
at a jazz festival?
In a public setting like that.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying that there are, we might not sell sort of like when we do small events and stuff like that. But it's I couldn't even bring it. There's kids in these public places, so there'd be some novelty items and there'd be some non-penis and non-vagina shaped things, but certainly not to cover the expenses of whatever the zillions of dollars in permits would probably be.
Oh, for sure. But I think that's just a hilarious idea. If you could,
That's a neat idea.
Mobile sex thing, and you probably just make your reservations online and.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, maybe that would work really well at they don't need it at a swingers convention, but maybe they get right to the line of the county, like let's say in Las Vegas, so you don't have to drive as far.
There you go,
something like that.
Right. That's smart. There's another one, Paradoxes, and this is a nonprofit. This is kind of interesting, actually. It's not humorous and goofy like the rest of these. It's a nonprofit, privately funded operation that helps people with disabilities or their caregivers connect with sex workers. So it's like a network for disabled only.
So Doxies is not Dachshunds. Dachshunds.
No.
Okay. Sorry.
No.
Okay, just check.
Yeah.
I know. I like that one.
Yeah. That's
because it's just you need. If you're isolated in any way, or you're not in the mainstream anyway, having a resource like that makes a perfect sense.
Yeah. And then this one is really kind of gross but very funny. The Japanese pervert train. And they have in Japan this train, and like in one of the cars, they have literally a groper's menu, and so you get to choose the clothing that whatever the person that you are going to grope, what you grope them through. So it could be like a schoolgirl skirt or a different. How hilarious is that?
Japan,
Colleen, the look on your
man.
face is
Japan and Germany.
Well, you know what? I'm telling you, if you could designate one car as the groper's cart, I'm sure it would make everyone else perfectly happy. I'm not sure. Obviously, you would probably have to hire people to be groped. That's how that works. But it would just put them all there.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh no. Then they've got sex doll brothels all over. Now, okay.
Okay, I'm going to need some help here. Sex stall? S-T-A-L-L?
No, doll.
Doll.
So brothels
sorry.
where you go to have sex with. I don't get it. Why wouldn't you just get one?
Because they're
Are these like fancy ones? Are these
Probably.
like real dolls?
Yeah. They're probably.
That's still.
But
That's
ew.
so weird. Because other people are using them.
Yeah.
That's a lot of disinfectant.
That's a lot
I've
of
used the word disinfectant several times today. No, that's. Yeah.
I know. Everybody's just sort of looking around the room
Yeah,
and trying to figure this one out.
I think the point of having a doll in your own doll is that you don't have to wear a condom or this or that or going through there. Because some of them I can't imagine really how you clean it. But then again, you could use the waterproof douche. Oh, I was giggling the other day. I'm looking through some of the packaging we get, and some of it from some of the companies is almost Dilbert worthy, because you think they don't want to change everything. But I'm looking at a douche that can be used anally or vaginally and stuff like this, and it's a silicone bulb and all this sort of stuff, and it says on it waterproof. And I'm like, I fucking hope so. I was giggling over there, and then I looked over and I saw this completely encased thing of anal beads, and it, seamless. I think a phthalate-free set of, and on it said waterproof too. And once again, I really truly hope, but I know that it's just on there. I mean, it's sort of like when they put gluten-free and fat-free like above a display of apples.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the same thing, same principle, but I don't know. It was a day that I was, just having a moment where the whole day was like,
really,
really, a whole day of really. And I walk in and I look at this packaging, and I'm like, this is no different than than any other company. Sometimes some of the stuff's a little different. I mean, we had I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but we had a screw up on our hardware issue on our credit card machine.
No,
and they wanted my personal Social Security number so they could close down the machine. Actually, it's the last 4 digits. But I'm like, in what freaking world am I going to get, now, mind you, I have amazing employees. But I don't, and I know that privacy is really a thing of the past. But if you think that I'm giving the last 4 digits of my Social Security number to one of my employees who may not work for me a year from now,
right?
Because it's retail and people move on and, they graduate, they do stuff. This is great. I get this. They're out of their freaking minds.
Yeah.
And so there's a form I can fill out to have a new password and all this sort of stuff. So I get the form. And it has one store on it. And I look at it and I go, is this the umbrella number or is this for all 10 things? And the person goes on the email back and forth. And I'm glad it wasn't in person because those guys heard me yelling around the office. And I said, oh, I didn't know you wanted for all the locations. I'm like, what, I want to do this 9 other times?
Oh, my God.
I'm just like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. And yes, I have a very different business in some ways and a very same business in other things.
Yeah.
It was I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Because really, I mean, years ago, Sally Jewell was the CEO of REI, right? Do you think when their credit card system went down, they called her up and asked for her Social Security number? I don't think so.
I'm guessing no.
I'm going, there's another system out there.
Do you feel better?
Yeah, I do. It drove me. Yeah. And this is mild rant. This is baby rant.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because I tried desperately when I was able. I was like, yes, I would like all of them. I would like not do this 9 other times. Thank you. When there were much other words I wanted to use.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. One more brothel, and then we got a couple quick topics before we wrap up today too. There's New Age church brothels, and yeah, and all I'm going to say is I'm going to read you a quote because this cracked me up from the author who investigated all of these, and he says, well, picture it as if Dolly Parton on a pulpit singing a catchy little number about Burt Reynolds' cock. Oh my God. Does that paint a picture for you?
Yeah, it takes a special kind of person.
How is that New Age? That sounds more like Branson,
I know.
Missouri. I'm confused here. I was thinking if you had Janis, someone dressed up like Janis Joplin or something, doing New Agey or any sort of lifestyle guru of today, but Dolly Parton? Okay.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So guys, this is kind of interesting. Story today about a woman sexting another man at an Atlanta Braves game. Did you see this?
I saw this.
I did not.
This is
So she's sitting next to her husband, sexting somebody cover name Nancy, but they could see over her shoulder.
Because they were sitting behind
her,
right?
They were sitting behind her in the graduated stadium seating. You could see the exchange. So they passed and they took pictures of it with their cameras. So think about that, okay? Mm-hmm. So they snapped pictures. And then they took one of the rosters that they had, and she passed a note. One of the sisters passed a note to the husband. And she said, I'll text you the pictures for proof if you want. And he said, please do. They haven't talked to him since. Mm-hmm. But see, you do not know who's looking, who's doing what. And the absolute, complete, and total proliferation of video and camera capability, just be afraid.
No, yeah, I saw this as fascinating because I can see taking a picture and passing it to the person that's with. I can see what's going through there. Putting it on social media, on the other hand, I mean, I
That's
think that puts them up for ridicule. I think it puts the wife up for ridicule, the husband up for ridicule. I think that steps into a different territory.
I do too.
I mean, someone's being, for all, they don't know. I mean, for all they know, these folks could be in a polyamorous relationship or a bunch of other things, but so putting it on social media, I think was a little bit creepy.
But it brings it begs another question, though. I was thinking about this today. It's like, how I think some of us or many of us have faced the situation where a couple and you find out one of them is cheating, and there's that whole thing, and you know them both. So what do? And it's like, do you guys think it's easier to rat out a stranger than it would be one of someone that you know?
Oh, I mean, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I still think they shouldn't have put it on social media, but yeah, it's much easier to do that because, folks like that. And there's just been other folks, and there's been other times when, when I've actually told the person that's choosing, just break the hell up.
Yeah.
Just break the hell up. This whole finding someone before you move on. And I know some people are just so afraid of being alone or this or that. I was going through there, but I have always been fascinated by that concept.
Yeah.
I'm like, just break the hell up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
do you tell the other person?
We've never gotten that far because the other person has found out quite quickly.
Okay.
So I've never actually had to do that. But after the time, I'm like,
it's such an awful position
because I'm usually far enough outside the loop that by the time I hear about it, the other person has an inkling.
Yeah.
I have to admit, it's never been so close that I'm like, that I've had to make, done that. But I'm like, I just don't get it.
Yeah.
But, then again, every relationship is really about those two people.
Yeah.
You do not know what's going on in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. So the Boy Scouts of America lifting the ban on openly gay people in the organization at the national level. What do you think?
Pretty much on the non-secular level, though. They have written into and it's a start, and I will concede that point right there. They have listed that the rules say that each troop, whoever sponsors it can sort of set their own rules, and it was pretty much done to stop lawsuits, because if you're someone who keeps people out, but you're getting public money, that's a problem.
Right.
I can certainly see the Boy Scouts turning into two completely separate groups. And some folks have even, I think some folks have even said they might, just separate entirely, which would make sense. And because if it was a completely private organization that wasn't using any public space or stuff like that, they can do all the rules they want and then take all the heat that they want or all the praise that they want because they're private. But they were taking public money.
Yeah.
So therein lies the difference. So, but I do think it's a start. It's lovely. Humans are the same.
Yeah.
And, although a big chunk of the world is spending a lot of time, trying to pretend that we aren't. Yep. But no, humans are the same.
Yeah. So
I'm excited about that because I have friends that are highly involved in the Boy Scouts, and I have talked about this, and they're like, we're going to change it from the inside.
Yeah.
And so that's there to, and I never was all that interested in the Girl Scouts because I'm not a real big group thing, and the Girl Scouts are not the same. Actually, in the U.S., there's Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts.
Right.
In the rest of the world, it's just scouting.
Really?
Huh. Yes. In the 70s, when they wanted to do it, actually, the women said, no, we want our separate things because they were afraid that the guys would take over. I think that was a bad choice. I'm sure people could debate me with this, but I don't believe that many of the Girl Scout troops nowadays actually do a lot of the outdoor things that the scouting was meant for. It's become a little bit more stereotyped in some cases. So that's why there's actually quite a number of girls that join Boy Scout troops.
Oh.
So that they can actually do more traditional outdoor scouting things. Sure. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff online about that if you want to search around. But we're pretty much the only place in the world that has separate Girl and Boy Scouts.
Interesting. Oh, yeah, that is really interesting. Because, and, who knows what, maybe even, a third organization sprouts up that's just for both sexes, and it is based purely on that particular, happy campers. I don't know, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, because my idea of, roughing it is I'm at the Holiday Inn versus the Radisson that has room service. So, yeah.
Yeah.
No. I was raised by a Jersey boy who was confused why I had a detached garage. So, camping and boating and outdoor things are no. I enjoy going to the North Shore and looking at it, but I damned well better have a nice place to stay when I'm done. I have hauled my ass up to the highest point in Minnesota, but I came back to a very nice lodge.
You sound like you camp like I do. Just a quick final note on this because we're running out of time here. But some of the things, and you'll hear this, and it's kind of goes back to the whole priesthood thing, and that there's this widely held belief that there's a correlation between homosexuality and child molestation. With male to male. You know how people they put that out there all the time. Mm-hmm. Well, years ago when I was still working at Clear Channel and I was on KFan, I was filling in for one of the guys in the afternoon show, so I was on by myself. And I can't even remember what the topic was, but it had something to do with that. And I finally pulled out the research, and I actually did like a half a show, like an hour on this, and took calls on it and everything else. But this mistaken correlation between homosexuality and child molestation came from, believe it or not, a study that was done at University of California, Davis in the 60s or 70s. Can't remember now. It's been a long time since I did this. But and it was mentioned, they did not claim that there was a correlation. They just used the word homoerotic, and stuff like that. And it was from that. That's where that whole thing got started. And the authors of the study were like, no. That's not what we're saying.
That doesn't make any difference. It's like saying, fart smells are going to keep you alive longer or something.
Yeah.
They just, people take, what they want out of it.
Yeah. And that is how that's the genesis of that. And people would use that study incorrectly. Because if you go back and read it.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't say that at all.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God. It's just been anyway. I just thought I'd mention that because we talk about such things here. And it's really kind of a big deal,
Yeah, we get caught up with that in people use outdated studies to try and ban fantasy gifts. And they'll go back to these 2 or 3 studies, once again, that were done in the 70s that show this or that, which I'm sure if you looked at would find that it's false. I mean, on-site versus off-site and a whole bunch of other stuff, and nobody actually reads anything. They take a tiny nugget and spin like you wouldn't believe. And no one has ever. I mean, even when the newspaper, and I don't care what newspaper you have, screws up, it's not like when they screw up, the headline has to be the same size in the retraction.
Yeah.
So everybody just gets that first piece of crap.
Yep.
Drives me nuts.
I know. And I didn't mean to end on a riling note.
No,
sorry.
it's good. No, but I'm saying it's a good thing because it's nice to know that, it's just like, that, you really need to look at your assumptions.
Right.
And where the hell did I get this piece of information from?
Yeah.
And, and I'm more than willing, and I've always been, there are lots of things sometimes I would love to be wrong on.
Yeah.
Feel free to help me be wrong. I'm willing to go, I screwed that one up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really interesting. Congratulations to those in the organization, the Scouts. It's a nice day for at least some progress, right?
Yeah. No, I know many folks that are very happy about that. And, like I said, little small increments, and there's like a long plateau, and then there's a nice big lurch, and I think we're having a lurch right now. Yeah,
I feel very lurchy, very lurchy. Well, next week we will do a little bit on the history of porn because we've got some great stuff. We don't have time for that today, but don't have a really day, I hope, right?
Well, I'm assuming it's like when one caveman saw another cave person, and then someone else decided to watch, because really, that's what I'm going to go there. That's my guess on the history of porn.
Oh, it goes back, way back. So we'll get to that. And great, Tara, good to have you back, as always.
Good to be here.
And Colleen, have a great rest of the week. We'll see you next week for episode 34.
I like that. Middle-aged podcast.